Hi there, this is Jess Clark. This is my week 7 contextualized vocabulary lesson. This is for any student in grade 2 or above. Ideally, it would take about 20 to 30 minutes, obviously, depending on how your students are understanding things, which is also why I think it could be used whole class or small group. If it's used in small group, I could see it more as like an extra support. And so you would be able to identify those students who maybe aren't catching on as quickly as the others, and then you could pull them aside as the other ones go and work in their partners or their groups after this lesson. And then you might give them a little bit of extra scaffolding or support there. So it could be used in either, but I am going to be using it in a whole class setting. Good morning, friends. So today we're going to be working a little bit more on the passage that we've been reading called Alaska Adventures. And we know it's really important to understand all of the words in there, even the ones that maybe we don't understand right away. But this is because we need to understand the meaning of the entire passage. So if we don't understand these certain words in there, even if it's just one or two, they create gaps, right? So if we don't understand a word, it's blank. We could essentially say that if we have all of our words here, just like that, and then we come across a word we don't know, it's going to be blank. There's nothing going to be there. And so that'll create a gap in our understanding. And so that's super important because we need to know and we need to understand these. And is it okay to not know all the words in our passage? Yeah, it's fine. There are some words that still, when I'm reading, sometimes I get confused and I have to stop and say, okay, wait a minute. I don't understand this. And if I don't understand this and I keep reading, I'm going to get confused. And then you'll have to go back anyways. So it's best to just stop. We need to look it up. We need to see what it means. We need to figure it out. And then we can move on. So today we're going to have 4 target words that we're going to be focusing on. The first one, I'm going to write it on the board here. This is the word vista. What is this word, friends? Vista. Good job. So a vista is like a faraway scenic area. And so either that or it's like a beautiful view from a very high place. So for example, let's say Joey climbed up to the top of a mountain and he took a selfie with the beautiful vista in the background. So why did Joey take a selfie on the mountain? Does anybody know? Yeah, he wanted to get the beautiful vista in the background. So what did he want in the background? Yep, he wanted a vista, but what does a vista mean? What can we say that it means? A beautiful view. That's right. So when he took a selfie on top of that mountain, he was able to see everything behind him, right? And that was a beautiful view, okay? So I want you guys to think really hard of a place that you guys might be able to go, either here or somewhere else, where you could enjoy a scenic vista. I'll give you a second to think. Okay, where might you go if you wanted to see a scenic vista? Yeah, an airplane might be one. You might be able to look down, and especially because I know sometimes when you're in an airplane, sometimes you're so high up that all you can see is clouds, or if you're over the ocean, maybe all you see is the ocean. But before you get that high up, you are able to see some scenic vistas, right? I've flown over Colorado before and I was able to see all of the mountains in the distance. I was able to see the farmland. I was able to see every which way, which is a scenic vista, right? Where else? Does anybody have a deck or a balcony at their house? Anyone? I'm going to draw a picture on here. And mainly, if you guys live in an apartment, maybe, you might have a balcony or a deck if you're on one of the top floors. So, I have my apartment building here. I'm going to draw Miss Clark standing on the balcony. So if we have a building that's a few stories high and you're standing on a balcony or on a deck or something like that, you're able to see a lot more. So let's say that I live in Colorado and I can see the mountains. So if the mountains are way over here, I drew an A. If the mountains are way over here in the distance, and then maybe we have some farmland with some cows over here, and we have a bunch of other towns, and we can see people, but they look like ants because they're so tiny because we're so high up. That would be a scenic vista. You're able to see all of these different things, but you're at a high point. So if you stood on the ground, you might not be able to see it, okay? So it's a vista. So I want you guys, describe to me a beautiful vista that you've ever seen. Does anybody know? Maybe you were on the top of a hill. Another one that I think of, and it's not quite scenic, is maybe you're at a football game and you're standing on the very, very top part of the bleachers. You can see a lot more, right? You can see more of the field. You can see farther out. You can see because you're higher up, right? So that might be a scenic vista that you've ever seen. So I'm going to start a sentence and I want you to finish it. The vista stretched out to the horizon from where we stood on the... How might we finish that sentence? The vista stretched out to the horizon from where we stood on the hill. Good job. Okay, so I think we've got that one down. All right, we have another word here. This one's a little bit tricky. Okay. This is the word coordinate. Let's say it together, friends. Coordinate. So this word, basically, it means to make a plan and then you match your plan up with somebody else's to make sure that they match. So basically, for example, let's say that your mom wanted to go on vacation somewhere, but it's the middle of the school year. She has to check to see if her work schedule matches up with your school schedule so that way you guys can take that time off. So let's say if I wanted to take a week off of school and my mom had next week off, but I was in school and I couldn't get pulled out. Our schedules don't coordinate. But let's say next week is spring break and next week my mom has the week off. Are we able to go because we coordinated schedules and they match? Exactly. So we can say basically to coordinate means just to match your schedules in order to make a plan. All right? So how might you guys coordinate plans to visit a friend? Yeah, you might have to check to see if their schedule is the same as yours. I would hate to travel. I know sometimes you might be so excited to go and see your friend or family from far away, but you need to make sure that your schedule matches with theirs because you'd hate to get there and then they're working or maybe they're out of town and you show up and they're not even there, right? Okay, so you just need to make sure schedules match. That's what to coordinate means. So I'm going to start a sentence again and I want you to finish it. My brother and I have to coordinate our after-school schedules because, maybe because you need to know, your mom needs to know when she needs to pick you up. So if you're staying after school until 4 o'clock, but your brother's staying after school until 5 o'clock, your mom might have a tough time picking you up. So you guys need to coordinate schedules, right? So you need to find a way to make sure that maybe you're staying after until 4:30, and then your brother's staying after until 4:30. So that way your schedules coordinate, right? So describe to me a time where you might have had to coordinate plans with somebody. What am I trying to say? So this time where you ever had to coordinate plans with somebody, did it work out? What about a time where you didn't coordinate plans? How did that look? Yeah. I know it was kind of a mess, right? I know I've done that sometimes before where I'm like, oh man, I forgot to see if this person's available to meet, or I forgot to ask this person if it's okay if I come over to their house, and you just go over there and they're like, hey, I wasn't expecting you. I have to go to a soccer game tonight. And your plans don't coordinate. So it's super important to coordinate your plans with other people, right? So what can we say that coordinate means again? To match up plans or to match up schedules to make a plan. Good job. Okay, so we have another word here. This is word number 3. This is the word interior. Can we say that together? Interior. Good job. Okay, so the interior part of a state, which is how it's used in our passage, it means the middle of it, away from the coast or the state line. So I want to draw you a picture. This is not going to be perfect, but I am not an artist here by any means. So we're going to say that this is the state of Iowa, right? I know, it doesn't look like it. I'll write it up here. Iowa. So we're located in Council Bluffs here. We're right about here. All of these lines around here, that's the state line. So are we on the interior of Iowa? No, because the interior, we know, is the middle part of Iowa, right? So we're on the state line. So if we're not on the interior, we're on the exterior, right? So if we wanted to go to Des Moines, which is right about there, they're on the interior because they're in the middle. Are they close to the state lines here? No. We know that it's about an hour and a half or 2 hours away from us. So they're pretty far away from the state line. So I think that it's safe to say that Des Moines is on the interior of our state, right? Okay. So in our passage, Jake wanted to travel inland to explore the interior of the state. So what did he want to explore? The interior of the state, right? Good job. So where did he have to travel to get to the interior of the state? He had to go through and go past the coast and go to the interior of the state. So he was here on the coast. There's the coast. He had to travel to the interior. So what can we say that interior means, friends? It means the inside of a state. Is it near the coast or the state lines? No, it's in the middle. And it doesn't have to be quite in the middle, but it has to be a good distance away from the coast. Because if it's on the coast, then we know it's the exterior. So is exterior and interior, are they synonyms? No, they're antonyms. Do you know why? Because they're opposites. So if they were synonyms, we might say that interior and the middle, they might be synonyms, right? Because they mean the same thing. But interior and exterior, because we know that interior means the middle and the exterior means the outside or the outline, we know that they're antonyms because they're opposites and they don't mean the same thing, right? Good job. Okay, so I'm going to start a sentence and I want you to finish it. So after a trip to the coast, we headed to the interior of the country because... Why might you go from the coast to the interior of the country? I have a good reason. Do you guys remember a few months ago there were a bunch of hurricanes on the coast? And typically we know that hurricanes only happen on the coastal areas. We don't see hurricanes here in Iowa, right? So you might have to move from the coast to the interior of the state or the country because there might be a hurricane. Okay? Awesome. So I want you guys to describe to me a place that you know that's located at the interior of your state. So where's a place that might be on the interior of our state? I'm going to draw Iowa again. Again, I'm not an artist. Where do you know in Iowa that's on the interior of our state? Yeah, we know that Iowa City, maybe right around there. So Iowa City is on the interior. They're getting a little bit closer to the exterior here, but we know that they're not right on the state line like us because we're right about here. And you guys know that when we cross over into Omaha, that's the state line. So you guys know how close that state line is to us. So we know that we're not on the interior. We're right on the exterior, on the state line. Anyone else? Good job, Des Moines. I mentioned that one earlier. They're about smack dab right in the middle there. So we know that they're on the middle too. Good job. Is anybody traveling up to the state fair? Because you'd be traveling from the coast or the state line into the interior. So that's a good example. All right, we have one more word. Okay. This is the word route or route, however you want to say it. So the word route, let's say it together, route. So basically, a route is the way that you get from when you travel from point A to point B or from one place to another. So I'm going to draw you guys a map. It's not going to be a great looking map, but it's going to be a map. Okay. So these X's, we're going to say that this is, let's say this is Des Moines. We've been using that one a lot today. And we'll say that this one is Council Bluffs. So we know if this is our map, this is the road, and I'm going to pretend that this is the route that I'm taking. So on a map, you would typically see this. You would be able to map out your route. So it's basically the way that you're deciding to go to get from point A, so right here, to point B, or vice versa. So this could be point A, this could be point B. And you're just going to map out your route, which is like the way that you're going to get from here to here. And I know sometimes you can do this. Let's say if you're going to a new place and your parents are driving and they're not sure where to go, maybe they will have a GPS, which will help them figure out the best or the easiest route to get from the place that you're at to the place you need to go. So, what might be a reason why you would have to take a different route to school? Does anybody have any idea? Has anybody had to take a different route to school if you walk to school or ride your bike? Maybe there's construction going on. Maybe the route that you typically take is closed. Or maybe you find out that you've been taking a longer route and you found a shorter way to school, and so you decide to map out a different route. So that could be a reason why as well. So I'm going to start a sentence, and I want you to finish it again. We got lost when Dad took a new route from... How could we finish that sentence? I'll read it again. We got lost when Dad took a new route from school. Maybe Dad got lost. Maybe you had to find a different route. Maybe you guys were coming back from vacation in Idaho, and you could say, we got lost when Dad took a new route from Idaho. I would hate to get lost coming back from there. That might be you might have to find a different route to come home, don't you think? Yeah? Can you guys describe to me the route that you usually take home from school? So how do you get there? Do you walk out of your house and you take a left down your street, then you take another right, and then you go straight and over a bridge, and then you're at school? So that might be how you could describe your route, or you could draw it. You could say, here's my house right here, right there, and then I have to go out my driveway and up the street, and I take a right here, and then here's school. So that would be an easy way to map out your route to give to somebody else. And it's something that's super helpful. So what can we say that route means, friends? It means how you map out your location from one, or your area of travel from one place to another, right? Okay, so those are our 4 target words. Let's go over them again. We have vista. We have coordinate. We have route. And we have interior. So let's go over these again. We have vista. What can we say a vista is? That was our first one. A scenic view from a high place, right? Okay. To coordinate, what does that mean to coordinate? You match up your schedule to make plans. Okay. Interior, what can we say interior means? It means in the middle, right? Away from the coast, away from the state line, it's in the middle. What about route? That's our last one. What can we say that the word route means? Yeah, it's the way that you travel to get from one place to another. Awesome job. Okay, so now with your elbow partner, I want you guys to find a spot around the room, and you guys are going to each read through your passage again, the Alaska Adventures one, which you guys should still have from yesterday. You guys are going to read that to each other and alternate paragraphs. But remember, I'm going to keep these on the board. Remember that if you come across a word that you don't know, highlight it and we will go over it. Or maybe your partner might know. So if you come across a word that you're not sure about, highlight it and ask your partner. Do we want to read all the way through it and then go back to that word? No, we want to stop right there and say, I'm not sure of this word. Because what happens if you keep going and you end it and then you have to say, oh, I didn't understand this word. Yeah, you'll have to go back through and you'll have to reread it because you're going to have gaps in your understanding, remember? So stop right there once you get to a word that you don't understand. Ask to explain it. If your friends can't explain it, ask me and I'll come over and I'll help you. And then we'll go back and we'll reread that part again. Okay? Get with your partners now.